Virginia Episcopal School was established through the vision, leadership, and work of Reverend and later Bishop Robert Carter Jett. Since it first admitted students in 1916, VES has helped develop more than 4,000 students toward full stature. Many of these students, in addition to having exemplary personal lives, have had distinguished careers in areas such as business, law, medicine, public service, education, and religion. The Board of Trustees previously established the Robert Carter Jett Award to periodically recognize those alumnus of Virginia Episcopal School who enjoyed a most distinguished career in their profession, make significant contributions in the community service and educational organizations, and otherwise lead an exemplary personal life. Our first Robert Carter Jett Award was given to Paul Fulton in 2016, who I'd now like to invite to the podium.
Thank you, Mary. First I was started by saying that really nobody, and I repeat, nobody has ever deserved this award more than John Ellison. He's one of our more successful alums. He's given to this school extremely generously of his time, his talent, and his wealth. Now, I was fortunate enough to serve on the Board of Trustees at Chapel Hill with John. So I've seen firsthand his passion, his energy, his vision, his generosity, and his good work. One thing about John has always been consistent. To John, the student has always been first. Every bit of his priorities are. He always wants them to be first. And the gift he gave to VES is additional evidence of that. Or as Erskine Bow would say, John always adds to the woodpile. He always makes a positive impact. He's always made a difference. And that's certainly true of his presence here at VES. John, I used to hear our friend Billy Armfield say that he was really glad he went to the same school that Frank Keenan did, which happened to be Woodbury Forest in Carolina, because Frank did so much to make those schools great. Well, I can truthfully say I am glad I went to the same schools that John Ellison did. Meaning, of course, VES in Carolina, and thanks to support of John, in a tremendous way, both are really, really great and getting better. John, thank you for your generosity and all you've done for this school. Congratulations on the Robert Carter Jett Award. You're the best, and no one's ever deserved it more. Thank you.
John, on behalf of Virginia Episcopal School, we would like to award you with the Robert Carter Jett Award.
Thank you. That's heavy stuff. We walk down paths we did not clear. We drink from wells we did not dig. We're warmed by fires we did not build. We owe so much to those people, faculty, coaches, and administration from VES who have helped us on our journey. Those were the words that I used when I ran a capital campaign for VES in the early 2000s. And we went to lots of small towns in North Carolina and Virginia where there were VES students and alumni. And we raised $3 million, which was a lot in 2002, in our Towards Full Stature campaign. I'm so grateful to be the third recipient of the Bishop Jett Award. And I'm grateful, first of all, because I'm in such esteemed company with Paul Fulton and with Chris Smith. I was on the way up here and I saw a bumper sticker. And this is what the bumper sticker said. Even though I try extraordinarily hard every day, I continue to manage all of my imperfections. My wife, my family who is here can verify that I am full of imperfections, but I'm going to try very hard to live up to the prestige of this award. I have so many warm memories from VES, but I've picked 3 that I want to share with you. The first is academic. My senior year English class, my teacher was Jim Hopkins on the back row there. And one of the things that Jim wanted to accomplish for us seniors was to teach us how to write well. And this is what he demanded. I remember this. I want the opening sentence in each paragraph and the closing sentence in each paragraph to be dynamic. I want proper grammar. I want proper spelling. I want proper punctuation. But most importantly of all, when I get to the end of that paper, I want to be changed. And he made us write, I think I remember, a couple of papers a week. And in the beginning, we would get the papers back and they would be seriously marked up. It looked like he had taken a worm and dipped it in red paint and let it go on the paper. By Thanksgiving, maybe there weren't as many worms in the ground, but there weren't as many marks on the paper. By spring break, some of us were writing decently, but by May, at the end of 9 months, writing 2 or 3 papers a week, we had really learned to write so much better than we were writing in September. You know, when you learn to write well, you learn to think. You have to think. But if you think well, then you can speak well. So what Jim really did for us was teach us to communicate. And that's one of the most important assets that a young person can have going to college or going into the business world today. And I think our senior class really learned to communicate because of Jim Hopkins. The second thing I want to remember for you all is Max Metter, who was my JV baseball and JV football coach. I really wanted to make the varsity baseball team when I was a sophomore. I didn't make it. I got sent down to the JVs, and I was the only person on the JV team who wasn't bat blind. And that means the pitcher throws the ball, and the batter swings, and he is inches from your face with that bat, and either you flinch because you're scared he's going to hit you with the bat, or you watch the ball and catch it. And I was the only person that wasn't bat blind. So I was assigned to be the catcher on the JV team. That's not so important, but after the first game, Max gathered us together on Monday for practice, and he said, I don't think I've ever done this before, but I want to give the most valuable player award to John Ellison. Well, I was shocked and awed. Nobody had paid me a compliment like that before. He said on 2 occasions, and we didn't have dugouts at the time. We had benches on the first base side and benches on the third base side. I ran after foul balls. I watched the foul ball. I hit the bench, and I caught the foul ball falling over the bench 2 times. There were, you know, JV baseball players aren't nearly as good as the varsity baseball players. So they make errant throws. So I would get up from when a ball was hit in the infield, I would run to first base in case the shortstop had made a bad throw to the first baseman. Well, on 4 occasions, the ball did get past the first baseman, and I was able to run it down to keep the runner from advancing to second. But I imagine that I was a guy that hustled and tried hard before Max said that to me. But as Garth just said, somebody at VES says something that resonates with you, and it stays with you the rest of your life. And when Max Metter said John Ellison's going to get the MVP award because I haven't had a JV player who hustled more or tried harder than John Ellison. Hustled more or tried harder. And that's stayed with me for the rest of my life. The last thing I want to talk about is my varsity baseball and football coach, Rock Lee. I was going to name several people for whom Rock meant a lot, but I saw you all coming in, and there are about 30 of you, so I can't name all of you. But Rock had a big influence on a lot of student athletes at VES, including me. And I was a senior, and I was not playing basketball, and there were about 5 or 6 of us that were not going to play basketball. And Rock came to us and he said, let's have winter baseball in the little gym upstairs. Well, we agreed to that, and we showed up the first day. Rock had a basket of balls and a bat, and he told me to go to the other end, and he hit balls left. I had to run left. He hit them right. I had to run right. He hit them right at me as hard as he could. Don't flinch, John, don't flinch. And I don't know how many balls I caught between November and the start of baseball. But now I want you to fast forward 50 years to 2014. I go into my office and the message light on my telephone is blinking. John Ellison, Rock Lee here. Do you remember all those ground balls I hit to you the winter of your senior year? We had a lot of fun, didn't we? He said, this is my telephone number. Can you give me a call? I want to have lunch. I call Rock. He said, I don't know whether you know this, but I have cancer. I saw in the Raleigh paper that you had received a prestigious award from UNC. I'm really proud of you. I knew you were going to turn out well, and you have. But it also said that you had been a longtime student of Zen Buddhism. And I want to know something about Zen Buddhism. I have to go to Duke on Wednesday. Can you meet me for lunch and let's talk about that? Of course, Rock, I'll be there. Well, on Monday, his wife called and said Rock had really taken a turn for the worse. And in fact, we never rescheduled that meeting. Rock died shortly thereafter. But can you imagine if any of you ever had a high school teacher call you 50 years later to reminisce about your high school career and ask to meet with you to have lunch for your advice? That can only happen with the dedication of VES teachers. We walk down paths we did not clear. We drink from wells we did not dig. We're warmed by fires we did not build. I owe so much to the teachers, coaches, and administration at VES for helping me on my way. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Congratulations. I'd now like to take a moment to recognize Mike Alford. He was the chair of the Board of Trustees prior to my coming on as chair, and he gave so much to the school and cares so deeply about VES, and he has not been formally recognized, and I just want to say thank you. I'd also now like to invite Eddie Smith to the podium, the father of the late Chris Smith, who was a recipient of the second Robert Carter Jett Award.
Thank you so much. What an honor. I'm not sure whether it's a bigger honor to be here to represent my wonderful late son, Chris, or to honor my dear, dear friend, John Ellison, of over 40 years. And it's So I'll be very brief. I think Paul did a great job, John, of talking about all of your attributes. And I just was thinking about the trajectory of all three of the Jett Award recipients through this school and from this school to Chapel Hill, and the legacies that they have left at each place and the marks that they've made there is pretty incredible when you think about it. And like Paul, I had the opportunity to serve on the Board of Trustees with John and numerous other boards at Chapel Hill, and we had the opportunity to, the two of us, to co-chair a drive to raise lots of millions of dollars to build a new football field house there. And every board I was on with him and everything I did with him, he always did the heavy lifting. He was always first there, last to leave, and the hardest worker. And on the Board of Trustees, I always watched how much the chancellor depended on him. Chancellor didn't ask me a lot of questions, but he depended heavily on John, and he was always there for him. So John, I'm just really honored to be here tonight and to congratulate you. And I just, as Paul said, I cannot think of a more deserving recipient of the Jett Award than John Ellison. Congratulations, my friend.
Friends, as we prepare to depart onto the remainder of our adventure, might we stand together? Grant, O God, that what we have seen with our eyes and what we have heard with our ears may be grafted in our hearts, and may that which is grafted in our hearts bear much fruit in the living of our lives, now and forever. Amen. Go in peace.